I clocked in early, like always, because late meant invisible. Mark looked over the cubicle wall and said, "You trying to beat the sun again?" "I'm trying to beat rent," I said. "Sun doesn't care." He laughed. "Rachel already here?" "Her car was outside," I said. "Lights on." Mark whistled. "She never sleeps, or she sleeps at the office." Lena tapped her pen without looking up. "She watches everything," she said quietly. I shrugged. "That's her job." Mark leaned closer. "Just don't give her your soul, man." "I need this job," I said. "I'll give whatever keeps it." Lena finally met my eyes. "Careful what you trade." I turned back to my screen. Deadlines filled my calendar like walls closing in. Every click felt timed, measured, judged. Rachel Moore signed my paychecks, but she also signed my future. One bad word from her and I was done. At 10, my phone buzzed. Rachel's name. "Come to my office," she said when I answered. "Now." "Yes, ma'am," I said. Her office smelled like coffee and control. She didn't look up. "Sit." I sat. "You missed a comma in the draft," she said. "I'll fix it." "You already did," she said. "Good." I waited. She leaned back. "Ambition is quiet," she said. "I like that about you." "Thank you," I said, heart racing. "You want more," she said. "Don't pretend." "I want stability," I said. "More comes later." She smiled. "Smart answer." When I left, my hands shook. Mark raised his eyebrows. "Survived?" "Barely," I said. Lena whispered. "She sees weakness." "She sees effort," I said. Lunch was eaten at my desk. Mark chewed loudly. "You ever think she owns this place?" "She does," I said. "At least my part." He frowned. "People disappear after her meetings." "That's rumors," I said. Lena said, "Rumors start somewhere." I ignored them. I had ignored worse in my life. Before this job, I had slept in my car, counted coins, promised myself I would never fall again. Losing this job meant losing everything I rebuilt. At 5, people packed up. I stayed. At 6, the lights dimmed. At 7, my phone buzzed again. Rachel said, "Come back to my office." "Tomorrow?" I asked. "No," she said. "Now." I stood alone in the quiet office, heart pounding, and walked toward her door. Mark whispered from the elevator, "You want company?" He hesitated. "I'm fine," I said. "Text me." "I will." Lena stood, bag on her shoulder. "Doors close fast here," she said. "I know," I said. "I'm careful." She shook her head. "Careful isn't safe." The hallway echoed. I checked my phone, then my bank app, then the calendar reminder labeled rent. I muttered, "Just do the work." Inside Rachel's office, she closed the door. "Relax," she said. "I am," I said, lying. She smiled thinly. "I called you because I trust you." "I appreciate that," I said. "You've been loyal," she said. "That matters." "I'm loyal to the job," I said. "To me," she corrected. I swallowed. "I want to do well." She tapped the desk. "Then stay late when I ask." "I always do," I said. "Good," she said. "Sit closer." I moved the chair, every sound loud. "Is there more work?" "There's always more," she said. I nodded. "Tell me." She watched me, silent, and the quiet felt heavier than words. I thought of Mark's joke, Lena's warning, my promises to myself. I thought of how close I was to losing balance again. Rachel said, "We'll talk," and the door clicked shut behind me. I sat there, breathing slow, telling myself this was normal, this was earned, this was safe. Still, my hands shook under the desk. I didn't know it yet, but that moment had already chosen me. It felt quiet, but something inside me was screaming, and I couldn't hear anything else anymore. That was the night everything began for me. Rachel leaned back and said, "You work too hard." I do what's required, I said. That's not what I asked, she said. Do you ever rest? I rest when the work is done, I said. She smiled. That sounds lonely. It's efficient, I said. She stood and walked closer. Tell me about your life outside this place. I don't mix work and personal, I said. She tilted her head. Everything mixes eventually. I laughed nervously. I should focus on the report. We already covered the report, she said. Sit. I stayed still. Is there something wrong with my performance? Your performance is excellent, she said. You're tense. I'm fine, I said. She lowered her voice. You don't have to be guarded with me. I do, I said. You're my boss. She paused. Does that scare you? No, I said, lying again. She stepped closer. I can help your career. I know, I said. That's why I work hard. She reached out and adjusted my tie. You should loosen up. I froze. That's not necessary. She didn't pull away. You misunderstand kindness. I swallowed. I don't want to misunderstand anything. Her hand stayed too long. You're safe here. My heart pounded. I need to leave. She smiled calmly. Sit down. I sat. Fear locked my legs. My job flashed in my head. Rent, bills, my brother, everything. She said, you trust me, right? I trust the job, I said. She sighed. You make everything formal. I need to, I said. Her fingers brushed my wrist. Relax. I didn't move. I didn't speak. Silence felt like consent, even though my mind screamed no. She stepped back finally. You're shaking. I'm tired, I said. She nodded. Go home. I stood fast. Good night. She said, be careful how you tell this story to yourself. I walked out without looking back. The hallway felt longer than before. Every step replayed the moment. Her voice, her hand, my silence. At home, I said out loud, nothing happened. I sat on my bed and whispered, something happened. I checked my phone. No messages. I opened my email. Nothing. I slept badly. Every dream ended with a closed door. The next morning, Rachel passed my desk and said, Morning. Morning, I said. Her tone was cold, professional, like the night never existed. Mark whispered, You look wrecked. I'm fine, I said. Lena glanced at me. You sure? I'm sure, I said, not sure at all. At noon, an email arrived. Please see HR, it said. I walked into a clean office with fake plants. A man stood and smiled too wide. I'm Daniel, he said. Have a seat. Why am I here? I asked. Just routine, he said. How's your relationship with Rachel? Professional, I said. He nodded slowly. Any misunderstandings? No, I said, then hesitated. He leaned forward. You can speak freely. I didn't. Silence felt safer. He smiled again. Good, we value harmony. When I left, my chest felt hollow. Power didn't need force. It only needed quiet people like me. That evening, Rachel called me in again. I stood at her door. She said, Close it. I didn't. She sighed. You need to learn something. I waited. She said, Ambition gets messy. I want clarity, I said. She stepped closer. Then don't misunderstand ambition. Her eyes warned me. Her voice ended the conversation. I nodded once and left. At my desk, I stared at my hands. They still shook. I knew then that crossing a line didn't always make noise. Sometimes it sounded like silence, and sometimes it wore a smile. I sat at my desk, staring at the blinking cursor. Another email from Rachel. Update the Thompson file by 5 p.m. I had already worked late last night. I muttered, how is this even possible? Mark leaned over my cubicle. You okay? I'm fine, I said quickly. You don't sound fine. I'm fine, I repeated. My voice felt hollow. Lena, across the row, whispered, be careful what you say. I stopped. I didn't want to risk it. Words felt dangerous. I clicked through the email again, checking for hidden criticism. Every phrase from Rachel felt like a trap. At home, Ethan asked, dinner's ready, you coming? I'm busy, I said. You've been busy all week. I know, I muttered, pushing the guilt down. He depended on me. I couldn't fail him, but I was failing myself. Back at work, Rachel assigned another impossible task. Finish both reports by tomorrow morning. I need more time, I said quietly, almost pleading. She arched an eyebrow. Deadlines are deadlines. I swallowed hard, my stomach twisted. Yes, ma'am. Mark tried again during lunch. Talk to someone. Don't bottle it up. I can't, I said. It'll ruin everything. You're already being set up, he said softly. I know. Lena glanced at me, expression unreadable. Document everything, she whispered. I nodded, typing as if my life depended on it, which somehow it did. The next day, I went to HR. Daniel smiled too widely. Take a seat, he said. I'm here because of the warning email? I asked. Routine check, he said. Your relationship with Rachel? Professional, I said, keeping my voice steady. Any conflicts? He asked, leaning forward. No, I said, though the word tasted bitter. You can be honest, he said. I'm honest, I said, though I wanted to scream. He nodded, as if satisfied. We value harmony, he said. Keep that in mind. Walking back to my desk, I realized power didn't need violence. It only needed silence and obedience. My stomach churned. By midweek, rumors started. Attitude problem, someone whispered in the hallway. My chest tightened. I avoided Mark and Lena, fearing even their voices would be used against me. I glanced at Rachel in the break room. She smiled, subtle and perfect. Her expression screamed innocence, victimhood. I hated her. I hated the rules that made her untouchable. I logged into my email and froze. A formal warning letter. Your conduct has been noted as problematic. My hands shook. Ethan's voice echoed in my head. You're okay, right? I wasn't. I wanted to cry, but there was no time. The office hummed around me, indifferent. I stared at my screen, every line of the letter burning into my chest. Mark whispered, You survived worse. I don't know if I will, I said, voice cracking. Lena's pen tapped softly. Sometimes surviving is just standing. I slumped in my chair. Silence wrapped around me, heavy and suffocating. I thought about telling someone, anyone, but speaking up would cost me everything I had worked for. I closed my eyes for a moment. My pride, my ambition, my brother, everything felt fragile. Rachel passed by my cubicle smiling. See you at the meeting, she said. I nodded, swallowing bile. I realized then that power was never about fairness. It was about control, and I was trapped in its quiet grip, unsure if I'd ever escape. I stared at my hands again, trembling. Every click of the keyboard, every hushed conversation, every forced smile, it all weighed on me. Silence was heavy, too heavy to carry, and yet I had no choice. This was my life now, and it felt impossible. I walked into the office, and Rachel's voice hit me before I even reached my desk. Your behavior yesterday was unacceptable, she said, sharp and calm. What? I stammered. I did what you asked. You were rude in the meeting, she said. Your tone was inappropriate. I didn't speak in that meeting, I said, panic rising. She smiled faintly. Someone reported differently. That's all I need to know. I froze. Reported differently? Yes, she said. Your attitude is being questioned. I wanted to argue, but my mouth went dry. Mark leaned toward me later. They started excluding you from meetings. I noticed, I said. Even the project I led was reassigned, he said quietly. Don't make a scene. Lena whispered as I passed her cubicle. Keep your records. She's done this before. What do you mean? I asked. She slid a small folder under my keyboard. Proof. Another employee vanished after similar accusations. Keep this safe. I opened it and my stomach dropped. Emails, screenshots, memos, every word twisted to frame someone. Fear turned into anger. I walked to Rachel's office. Can we talk privately? I asked. Of course, she said sweetly. Close the door. I closed it and said, this isn't fair. You're twisting what I said. I didn't. You're defensive, she interrupted. That sounds like guilt to me. I'm not guilty of anything, I snapped. She raised her hand. Please calm down. This is for your own good. I clenched my fists. You're recording this, aren't you? She tilted her head. Of course, to protect the company. My throat tightened. You're framing me. I'm protecting everyone, she said smoothly. I left her office shaking, my mind racing. Every word I'd ever said could be used against me, every action misrepresented. Back at my desk, I opened a new document. I started logging emails, calls, instructions, everything. I wrote the truth, meticulously. If I had to fight, I would have proof. The next morning, a formal notice appeared in my inbox. HR opened an investigation against me. I walked toward Daniel's office, trying to keep calm. He smiled too widely. We'll review everything, he said. You'll have a chance to explain. I nodded, but my gut twisted. The system I trusted was no longer a shield. It was a weapon pointed at me. By noon, whispers filled the hallways. Did you hear about him? I ignored them, heart pounding. My reputation, built over years, unraveled in minutes. Mark leaned close. Stay strong. Don't show fear. I'm not sure I can, I said. Lena handed me a coffee. Your records. Don't leave them unattended. Trust no one. I nodded, gripping the folder like a lifeline. Later, I was called into HR again. Daniel's tone was neutral. Pending review. We're suspending you temporarily. You can pack your things. What? I said. Standard procedure, he said. We need to maintain objectivity. I packed silently, heart hammering. Each file, each pen, each notebook felt heavier than the last. As I walked through the office, everyone's eyes followed me. Some curious, some sympathetic, some judgmental. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Rachel passed me, expression unreadable. Take care, she said lightly. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The words would have been useless anyway. Out the front doors, the city air hit me like a slap. I wanted to scream, to run back, to fight, but I held my head high. Survival meant patience. Revenge meant strategy. I walked to the subway, heart still racing, hands shaking. Every step echoed with betrayal. Every glance reminded me of the system I had trusted, betraying me. I didn't know how I would fix this, but one thing was clear. I couldn't stay silent anymore. The weight of being framed pressed down on me, heavy, suffocating, but it also lit a fire I hadn't felt before. I wasn't just a pawn, not yet. And from now on, I would make sure no one could control me without consequences. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the pile of bills. Each one screamed louder than the last. Ethan's voice broke through the silence. Are we going to be okay? He asked. I swallowed hard. I don't know. You will tell me what's going on? I got suspended, I said quietly. Unpaid. Rachel, she's making everything look like it's my fault. He blinked, then nodded slowly. I believe you. I wasn't sure anyone would, I admitted. You have me, he said. We'll figure it out together. I felt a flicker of relief, the first in days. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Mark's name appeared. Can we talk? He texted. I hesitated, then replied, now. He leaned against the stairwell wall when I arrived. Rachel, she pressured me to say things. I didn't want to, but... You didn't? I asked. No, he said quickly. I only did what she forced. I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me, I said. It helps. I spent the rest of the day gathering everything. Emails, timestamps, messages, every instruction, every deadline, every conversation that proved I wasn't the problem. My hands shook, but I felt a strange sense of control returning. Lena sent a message. Call Olivia. I hesitated. She can help. Lawyer? Really? Yes, Lena replied. She knows how to handle people like Rachel. I dialed the number. Olivia speaking, a calm voice answered. I need help, I said. You're brave, she said. I can't promise victory, but I can promise truth. That's all I want, I said. We met in a quiet office. Olivia flipped through the emails and notes I brought. This is solid evidence, she said. We can file a formal notice against the company. This will shake things up. I don't want to destroy anyone, I said. I just want fairness. Fairness isn't weakness, she said. It's courage. I nodded. For the first time in weeks, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Control. What about revenge? I asked quietly. I want to make her feel something. Olivia shook her head. Revenge makes you no different. Focus on what's right. That will hurt her more than anger ever could. I swallowed. She was right, of course. I didn't want to become Rachel, no matter how much she deserved it. Later that night, I called Ethan. I'm taking action, I said. You sound like yourself again, he said. I am, I said, finally. Mark dropped by with coffee. You've got this, he said. I hope so, I said. The next morning, Olivia filed the formal legal notice. I watched as her email hit Rachel's inbox. Everything changes now, Olivia said. I exhaled slowly, heart pounding. For the first time, I didn't feel like a victim. I thought about Rachel, about the lies, the rumors, the power she wielded. But instead of fear, I felt calm. I had survived, and now I had the truth on my side. I looked around my small apartment, at Ethan reading quietly in the corner, and finally whispered, "We'll be okay." The weight of helplessness lifted slightly. The fight had begun, but this time I wasn't defenseless. I walked into the office, and something felt different. The usual tension hung, but there was a shift, subtle, electric. Daniel avoided my gaze entirely. "Morning," I said quietly. He nodded stiffly. "Morning." Later, I got a call from HR. "We're reopening the investigation," the voice said. "We received new statements from other employees." I clenched my fists. "About Rachel?" "Yes," they said. "It seems there's more to the story." I hung up and breathed slowly. Finally, truth was on my side. Mark appeared at my cubicle. "People are talking. Others are stepping up. You're not alone anymore." "About time," I muttered. Lena leaned close. "Keep documenting everything. She'll try to reach you." She was right. Hours later, my phone buzzed. Rachel's name flashed. "Please talk," her message read. "I want to explain. I'm sorry." I stared at it. Anger flared. I typed, "Not now," and deleted it. She tried again. "This isn't personal. I can fix things." I didn't reply. At lunch, Daniel walked past, avoiding eye contact. I felt his panic radiate. The tables had turned. By afternoon, the company offered me a quiet settlement. "You can sign, get your pay, and this will disappear," HR said. "No," I said firmly. "I want the truth out. Public. Everyone needs to see what happened." The HR rep blinked. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I said. "I'm done hiding." Media outlets called. The story leaked cautiously. Rachel was placed on leave, her confidence cracking. I watched from my desk as the power balance shifted. Later, I received an email from Rachel. R, we need to meet, just to talk. R stared at it. Satisfaction mixed with emptiness. Revenge didn't heal. Seeing her fall didn't fix the nights I cried alone. But surviving, that gave me strength. Mark leaned on my cubicle wall. "She's trying to bait you." "I know," I said. "I won't bite." Lena whispered, Patience is your weapon now. I nodded. She was right. Every hasty move could ruin everything we worked for. I walked past the office windows, looking down at the city. The same city that had felt heavy now felt alive. The air tasted different, charged with possibility. I realized fear no longer controlled me. My phone buzzed again. Rachel, please, just hear me out. I set it aside. Not now. Maybe later, when the truth is already out. Daniel passed by again. His forced smile faltered when our eyes met. I felt the power shift in full. By evening, media articles confirmed Rachel's leave and the company's public apology. The satisfaction was sharp, but a hollow space lingered in my chest. Revenge had no warmth. Survival had everything. Mark leaned closer. You okay? I'm more than okay, I said. I'm free. Lena smiled. Free, yes, but don't let this change who you are. I won't, I said. I've learned that. That night, Rachel's final message appeared. I'm waiting. Please, just talk. Ew. I didn't respond. I had control now, not over her, but over me. I realized power didn't belong to her anymore. It belonged to truth, and I had plenty to share. I stared at my phone, heart steady. The game had changed. I wasn't scared anymore. And when she finally asked to meet, I would choose how, if at all. I arrived at the cafe early, the neutral place Lena suggested. I wanted to see her one last time, on my terms. Rachel was already there, sitting with her hands folded, looking smaller than I remembered. You came, she said, voice quiet. I did, I said. I sat opposite her. She looked down at her coffee. I crossed a line. I shouldn't have. You did, I said. I know, she admitted, but you have to understand the stress, the pressure, being alone. I didn't think. You didn't think, I repeated, letting it hang. You thought only of yourself. She winced. I'm sorry. I didn't reach out. I didn't comfort her. That wasn't my place anymore. I lost control, she said. I pushed too far. But I thought you'd understand ambition. Ambition isn't an excuse, I said. It doesn't erase what you did. Her hands trembled. I never wanted it to go this far. You wanted control, I said softly. That's different. She looked down again, quiet. For the first time, the woman who had seemed untouchable looked fragile. Do you hate me? She asked. I don't care about hate, I said. Your downfall isn't my victory. It's your consequence. She stared at me. Will you tell anyone? I already have, I said. The truth is out. That's enough. A silence stretched between us, filled only by the cafe hum. I finished my coffee and stood. Goodbye, Rachel, I said. She nodded, lips pressed thin. Goodbye. Days later, I saw the news online. Rachel had been fired publicly. HR was restructuring. Daniel resigned quietly. The company issued an apology to all employees affected. I read the words slowly. Satisfaction mixed with emptiness. I had survived, yes, but revenge never felt as fulfilling as I had imagined. Survival, not cruelty, was the lesson. A week later, an email arrived. Your position is available again, with a promotion. I stared at it. The promotion was tempting, but I hesitated. Returning would mean stepping back into the shadows of a place that almost destroyed me. Mark called later. You're not going back? I'm not sure, I said. I need space. I need to start fresh. You've earned it, he said. Don't let them pull you back. Lena sent a message. Your choice matters more than their offer. I nodded silently. When I finally replied to HR, I declined the offer. My life wasn't theirs to control anymore. Thank you, I wrote, but I'm moving forward elsewhere. I closed my laptop and leaned back. I thought about Rachel, about the fear, the power, the silence. It belonged to the past. I thought about Ethan, Mark, Lena, people who mattered, who had stayed true. My gratitude for them was heavier than the emptiness inside. I realized I wasn't just walking away from a job.
I was walking toward myself. I still carried the scars of those months, but they no longer defined me. I had learned boundaries, courage, and the cost of silence. And I had learned one more thing. The fall of someone who tried to control you is never a victory. The real victory is standing tall afterward. I looked out the cafe window, city lights flickering. My chest felt lighter than it had in months. I whispered to myself, this is mine now, my life, my rules. No emails, no messages. No one could touch that. Not Rachel, not the company, not even fear itself. I stepped out into the night, finally free.
I walked into my new office on my first day, lighter than I had felt in months. "Morning," I said to the receptionist. "Morning," she smiled. "You must be Daniel's new hire." "Actually, I caught myself. Titles didn't matter here. I'm just here to do my job." She nodded. "That's what matters most." I unpacked my things quietly. No looming eyes, no whispered judgments, no hidden cameras. Just a place to work, to breathe. Ethan called that evening. "How's the new job?" "Good," I said. "It feels right." "I'm proud of you," he said. "Really proud." I smiled, a warmth spreading through my chest. "Thanks. I couldn't have done this without you." "You're stubborn," he said, "but in a good way." "I had to be," I admitted, "after everything." Mark stopped by a week later. "I'm sorry for doubting you, for letting her pressure me." "It's over," I said. "We both survived." "I learned from it," he said quietly. Lena emailed me that evening. "Thank you for being brave. You set a standard for all of us." Stared at the message and let out a slow breath. Bravery wasn't about fighting loudly. It was about standing for yourself, even when no one watched. I thought back to the office I left behind, to Rachel's office, the silence, the whispers, the fear that had nearly crushed me. For months, I carried the weight of not speaking, the terror of consequences. Now I understood. Silence almost destroyed me. Speaking, carefully, truthfully, saved me. I sat at my new desk and opened a notebook. I wrote my first entry. I am not broken. I am rebuilding, one day at a time. Start. My thoughts drifted to Rachel. I didn't feel anger anymore, just understanding. People like her fall because of choices, not because of us. The real power is not control over others. It's control over yourself. Ethan visited over the weekend. "Want to grab lunch?" he asked. "Absolutely," I said. "I've got stories to tell." We laughed over sandwiches, sharing small victories, planning future projects, dreaming without fear. My brother's presence grounded me more than any job or title ever could. "At work," my new manager said, "we value respect over titles here. It shows." "I noticed," I said. "It makes all the difference." Lena's words echoed in my mind. Being brave doesn't mean you're fearless. It means you face what's necessary. I realized I carried scars. Yes, they'd never fully disappear, but they didn't weigh me down anymore. They reminded me of survival, of truth, of boundaries I'd fought to reclaim. I glanced out the window. The city moved, indifferent and beautiful. I felt part of it again, not trapped within walls of fear. I whispered to myself, I choose myself. I always will. The sun set outside my window, warm and steady. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Every step forward was mine, deliberate, unafraid. For the first time in a long time, I felt whole, not because I had beaten anyone, but because I had kept my integrity, spoken my truth, and refused to let fear define me. I closed my notebook and leaned back. Silence no longer held me captive. I had my voice, my life, and my choice. And that was enough. I scrolled through the news one quiet morning, coffee in hand, and froze. Rachel Moore. Her name flashed across the headline. Former executive terminated amid misconduct investigation. I stared at the screen. No anger, no glee, just calm. My chest felt lighter than it had in years. I whispered to myself, it's over. The city outside my window moved like it always had. Cars honked. People hustled. Life went on, and for the first time, I felt entirely separate from the chaos she had created. I thought about the line she crossed months ago, the line I hadn't even known existed, the one that nearly crushed me. I realized something important. Power doesn't define worth. Titles don't define respect. Silence can destroy, but truth rebuilds. I poured another cup of coffee and leaned back in my chair. Boundaries, I said quietly, they're everything. Courage means using your voice. Self-respect means not giving it away. My phone buzzed. A new employee had joined the team today. I smiled. Time to pass it on, I whispered. At lunch, I found her at the cafeteria. Hey, I said, mind if I sit? Of course, she said, nervous but polite. I know the first days can feel overwhelming, I said. Let me give you some advice. She nodded eagerly. Please. Respect yourself, I said. Don't let anyone blur the lines you said. Ask questions, document everything, and speak up if something feels wrong. Silence can hurt more than confrontation. She listened carefully, eyes wide. I will. Thank you. I smiled. I've been where you are. I've learned the hard way. You don't have to. It felt normal, light, grounding. We laughed softly at a small joke about coffee machines. Later, I returned to my office and looked out the window. The skyline was warm in the afternoon sun. I thought about Ethan, Mark, Lena, Olivia, the people who had mattered, who had stayed true. They reminded me of what real support looks like. I felt the scars inside me, yes, the memory of fear, silence, and betrayal. But now they were just markers of survival, not chains. They reminded me I had spoken when it mattered. I had set boundaries. I had protected myself and others. I whispered again, this time firmly. I will never stay silent again. Not for fear, not for control, not for ambition masquerading as authority. The office felt alive with possibility. My heart felt steady. I was strong, not because I had conquered someone else, but because I had reclaimed myself. A notification popped up, another message from a friend checking in. I replied with a simple, I'm well, finally. I closed my laptop and took a deep breath. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need recognition. I had peace. The city outside buzzed with life, and I realized I was part of it again, fully present, fully alive. I had boundaries. I had courage. I had self-respect. And I would carry those lessons forward, mentoring, guiding, speaking, and never letting fear dictate my choices again. I glanced at the empty chair across from me and thought about all the people who needed guidance, who needed to hear the truth. I smiled. You won't be silent, I said aloud. Neither will I. And with that, I leaned back, quiet but unshakable, knowing the line she crossed had changed me, but in the end, it had made me whole.